Fletch is the true Lord of the Rings.
It's the inheritance, the California American inheritance.
God. Yeah, instead of Middle Earth, just the Lord of the Rings takes place in California.
I could see it happening.
Right? Frodo and Sam, we have to get to Mount Doom. God. Oh, well, there's nothing like taking a story that's set in California and putting it somewhere else, which they didn't do with the original Fletch story, thankfully. But now we have Fletch. You know what they should have called this movie? Not Confess Fletch. Fletch Recast.
They might as well have, because everyone who says there's a new Fletch movie are like, oh, Chevy Chase.
Yeah, or what they should have called it was Fletch. This is finally being made? ? Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, can you believe this got made by Gregory Mcdonald?
I can't. But on this episode of the Culture Cast, we're going to talk about how did it get made? Oh, not why did it get made. More like why, not how, because the how is pretty easy to answer, but the why is a different story. We're going to be talking about Confess Fletch, the third Fletch movie, but it has nothing to do with Chevy Chase's Fletch movies, but it's a Fletch movie. And I'm joined by your friend and mine. He's a host of a podcast that are from Destinations That Are Dark. You might want to go listen to a show that he does all about Wolf and Raisin. He's the biggest Fletch. He's the biggest Fletch fan that I know. Oh, Father Malone.
You and I go way back with our shared devotion for Fletch, and Fletch Lives. The true cinematic classic. Oh my goodness. Like one day I woke up. This is how magical that movie is. One day I woke up and it was there on my DVD wall. Just appeared unbidden.
And unbroken.
Yeah.
It was at the time.
Yeah, no, I have watched it since then.
But yeah, we're going to be talking about Confess Fletch.
All right, Frank.
Where are you right now?
None of your business.
Come on, Fletch. Aren't you bored? I need you for a story. I got that police report you wanted. I just emailed it to you. It's encrypted.
What's the password?
Go F yourself.
My father's paintings were stolen. The Picasso was appraised at $20 million.
Well, that hardly seems worth stealing.
You're not a detective.
But I was an investigative reporter. It's an occupation that's been cheapened by the digital age, like president.
Irwin Maurice Fletcher.
They caught me in the middle of a yawn. Can you imagine that?
Who killed this young woman?
I think the victim interrupted an art theft.
Your fingerprints are on the murder weapon, and someone matching your description was seen with the victim. Come back with me to police headquarters.
I get it. You want my help? Okay. Hey, guys, is there a way we can call in a coffee order? I'd kill for a macchiato. Not literally.
I looked into your criminal record.
And?
You're a bit of a shady character, Mr. Fletcher.
But I am adorable.
If you did kill that girl, do the right thing and give me an exclusive.
Let's talk about the suspects.
The Countess de Grazia married Papa for his money. Somehow she's involved.
Fletch, you're trying to seduce me.
Quite the collection of impressionists you have here.
Those are reproductions.
That's how we introduce my children. Why did you lie to me?
You're becoming paranoid. Maybe you should get a gun.
Did you murder that girl? Okay.
Oh, no, I didn't. Did you?
What is this? Woodburn and Bernstein?
Almost.
This stupid idiot moron has something to do with this.
You want me on the outside so I can solve this thing. Are you Fletcher? Yes, I am. Oh! I mean, no, I'm not. I always get that wrong.
I don't know who people hate more, cops or reporters.
It's cops.
So the film is directed by Greg Mottola. It's written by Zev Borrow and Greg Mottola. It is based on the book Confess Fletch by Gregory Mcdonald. And it stars Jon Hamm as the titular Fletch, an investigative journalist who goes from Italy to Boston to help identify some paintings that may have been stolen. And he gets embroiled in a murder mystery along the way. Before we talk about Confess Fletch, Father Malone, let's talk a little bit about OG Fletch and Fletch Lives, because I know we both rewatched them for this episode.
You got right, we did.
And you actually read Fletch for the first time.
I did. I read both.
And I've read all of Fletch since the last time I talked about Fletch, which was like a year ago. So,
well, good. I'll have questions for you on the continuation of the character in the book series.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your exposure to one Irwin Maurice Fletcher. I am Fletcher to his friends.
I think like most everyone, my initial introduction was thanks to the Chevy Chase film. And Chevy Chase, it's hard to sort of say how big a star Chevy Chase was, but at the time he was a megastar with Vacation. Basically, everything he was in would end up being a huge success.
Who is the equivalent today? Is there a comedian today that's like the equivalent of Chevy Chase? Like at the time, like have we seen someone now who's at like the height of their
I don't know if they're right now, but I know it's happened since then. Immediately following it, or like sort of concurrently at the time was Eddie Murphy, who eventually eclipsed Chevy Chase. Like took that all away from him.
I guess Will Ferrell was kind of like Chevy Chase.
He was for a little while.
Spun off from the orbit of SNL.
Yeah, and I think everything is sort of running at an accelerated pace these days. And, whereas Chevy Chase wore out his welcome slowly over time, Will Ferrell did it very quickly with a whole bunch of bad choices. Yeah.
But I would contend that they had just about as bright of a shine at one point.
Definitely. Oh, yeah. But the thing is, Chevy Chase, he was the face of Saturday Night Live, which was the coolest, hippest thing in the world in 1975. So he had a lot of cachet, way more than anything that Will Ferrell or anyone else would have picked up after the fact. So it was
counterculturally important in the 70s.
Absolutely. It felt like the lunatics had taken over the asylum. Like if there was finally television for people who had been raised by television rather than people telling us what television ought to be. And he's right out there in the front line saying his name every week. So, he becomes the face of it. And, he parlayed it very quickly into a lot of very funny movies with Foul Play and then Caddyshack and even seems like old times. But this movie, I remember seeing opening day. It was like 85. This came out. The first Fletch?
Yep.
Yeah. So I was, 12. And, he was such a big star. And this version of Chevy Chase is the one I like most, way more than like Clark Griswold, the sort of snappy kind of an asshole, which is who he, ends up being, obviously. But it worked really well for this character in this performance, this iteration of the character, because I had obviously no connection to the books or how the character was originally drawn. But I could see, having read it now, I could see how one at the time could go, this is great for Chevy Chase. A lot of it seems to be Irwin, Fletcher, running up against morons in a lot of cases. And then, just whatever, but always having the upper hand. And Chevy Chase always sort of exuded that he was the smartest guy in the room. So that, and I loved that film. And then a couple of years later, the other one came out, and that was not something I enjoyed. And then I haven't really dealt with Fletch much, other than hearing every couple of years that there's a new Fletch movie on the way, and now it's going to star this person and that person and the other person. We dodged a huge bullet with the Kevin Smith, Jason Lee version of this. Now that I've read the material, even though, come to find out, Fletch in the original book is 29, right?
Yeah.
He's 29 years old, and he served in Vietnam.
He sure did.
Yeah, that's kind of absent from the Chevy version.
It's a lot of things absent from the Chevy Chase version. A lot of it, I'm glad it's not in it, because it wouldn't have worked with that character, namely him having sex with a 14-year-old, which ain't great.
No, it ain't great. There's some stuff in Confess Fletch, too, that they changed that I was very happy about. But we'll get to it.
Yeah. So, look, we talked about this on the Fletch episode so long ago. So I feel like it's worth mentioning now, because if I don't mention it, it's going to get mentioned. Fletch is one of my favorite movies. Period. It was a very important movie for me that I saw at a very right time. It was one of these movies that I saw on DivX. And there was a handful of movies that I saw on DivX that have a larger free rent spot in my mind than others do. And Fletch is one of them. I know why, but I don't know why. I think Fletch is in a lot of ways the person I wish I could have been in high school. At least the way he deals with people that are giving him a hard time, and his ability to think on his feet quickly. Because ultimately he's just a kind of a con man.
Basically, yeah.
Essentially,
he's an investigative reporter, and he's on the right side of the law and the right side of morality, ultimately.
Right.
But he's really just good at talking his way into anything and everything.
Right. Which, I can appreciate, and I can respect that, as I'm sure you can.
Can I say something about the original Fletch movie? Because I did just watch it again, right? Any scene that's on location in that movie where Chevy Chase is dealing with people and it's not a soundstage, he's really, really good. Anytime that they seem to be on a soundstage, it's one of the sort of let's let Chevy be Chevy moments. And all of that comes off as forced and bad. Like it really is like a bunch of dummies and him being sort of getting over on them. When he's out on the street, he seems like a regular guy and dealing with regular other human beings. And, you know, there's you can see the wit there, but it isn't like a punchline. That's what, and I want to say that I'm saying that because that's what came through to me in the book. And that's, I think, what we get a lot more of here in Confess Fletch, that it isn't sort of he's not a jokester. He's not a punchline kind of a guy, even though everything he says is funny.
Well, and I think that's the thing about the character that I would agree, you know, looking at it completely objectively, taking my subjective love out of the movie, the character in the original movie is not true to the source material. It really is, in a lot of ways, put the camera on Chevy Chase and he's going to say something funny. And he does. I mean, there's plenty of like ad-lib stuff that's totally ad-lib. Anytime he's speaking Spanish, it's ad-libbed. I mean, a lot of it's ad-lib. Not necessarily the funniest parts of the movie, not necessarily the most memorable parts of the movie, but that's what Chevy Chase brought to it. And then you get someone like Jon Hamm, who's not a classically trained comedic actor. He's not known for his comedic timing. I mean, he's funny, but he's funny in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, Chevy Chase really is a comedian.
30 Rock. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Like the funny from Jon Hamm is that it's Jon Hamm in a funny thing. Like that itself is the joke. Whereas, you know, Chevy Chase, it would be a stretch for him to take a dramatic role.
Right. It would be. And that's, for me, what makes the original Fletch so good. Is it the character from the book? No, it's its own thing. And then in the second movie, they really reinforce that it is his own thing. And you know what? I think that's okay because we come to this character now who is in a lot of ways a more faithful adaptation of the character. I think a lot of the rough edges have still been sanded off.
Oh, certainly.
You know, there are a lot of rough edges in the book, even in this one, because this, I think, is the second book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so there's a lot of rough edges in that book. And you know, there is even a character in that book that they don't even include in this movie, who Gregory Mcdonald would go to write spin-off books for, Inspector Flynn, who is not in this movie. They replace him with a character that works pretty well, I think.
I think he actually works better than Flynn.
The Flynn thing, the Flynn thing served its purpose in the book, but like it was never going to make sense in the movie unless that was something they wanted to do.
Look, the book, it was written and came out in 1974. The book, as the movie, is set in Boston. And Francis Xavier Flynn, as interesting a character as he is overall, is just replete with all the same Irish bullshit that I've been like railing against my entire life. So once I started reading it, because I loved the character of Monroe in the film, like he had that sort of the world weariness, but also I never doubted that character was on top of everything. And that comes through in the character of Flynn, but it's just so drenched in all the same Bagara kind of bullshit.
Yeah, it's very stereotypical.
Everything is like everything he says is you know, we're blah blah blah. Which, by the way, first of all, that's Scottish. Second of all, enough. We get it.
But let's talk a little bit about this Fletch. Because I mean, Fletch Lives is kind of its own thing. I mean, you know, we can rag on it all we like, but it has no basis in the source material. It is a sequel to Fletch, the movie, not to Fletch, the book series.
Yeah, so, it's not based on any book at all. Based on the previous film, based on the iteration of the character that Chevy Chase had created, which was a wacky kind of a guy.
Which I would even contend, again, another nitpick in my book, the way Fletch ends is a perfect ending. Like Fletch gets away with it, and he's in Brazil.
Oh, yeah, the first film, absolutely. And
why do we need to see him back in the United States again? Like, what?
Right? Or you know, we could have seen him back in the United States, but like not during a writer's strike with an original screenplay when they had all the source material to draw from.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's no need to necessarily draw from the source material. They stopped doing it with James Bond. There's no requirement. Because they ran out of books. I know, but there's also no requirement.
No, I'm not saying that they needed to. I'm just saying what we ended up getting was absolutely subpar.
Oh, I mean, again, it's not. Well, that's my biggest issue with that Fletch movie is it could be any character. It doesn't have to be Fletch.
Right. The second film?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, as much as I like it, it's still Fletch, which is the reason I like it, but it's not. It's not a Fletch specific story. The original story set in LA with the journalists, with the LA Times, all that. Like, that is LA. He's on the beach in LA. Like, that has to be in LA, and it's an LA story. So the other one's a Louisiana story. He has no tie to Louisiana. He doesn't care anything. I mean, even in this movie, he cares about the Lakers in Confess Fletch.
Yeah, he doesn't do that.
It could be any character. He kind of in
but not.
In Fletch Lives, it's like his Lakers watch, and he wears like a Lakers hat, and his shoes get ruined. But like, that's it. And he calls Richard Libertini once.
Right. And can I just point out one other thing that I really liked in the Fletch movie, which is, obviously Richard Libertini is just fucking fantastic. I don't need to heap any more praise on him. But the scene where Fletch is flying to Utah, where he's going to finally find out about Sally Ann Kavanaugh, right? And he says, I'm going to Utah. And Richard Libertini, first of all, like, just out of focus is this old reporter. And he's like, I'm going to give that story to somebody else. And the guy, like, sort of, you can see, even though he's out of focus, he visibly smiles and like gets a notepad and a pen, like, I'm going to get back into the game. This is a wizened old man, right? And then the rest of the conversation happens. And then when it ends, they cut back to Richard Libertini, and the camera slowly pans the room. And it's all the old men on the newspaper staff. Like, they come here because they're already been passed by, and they hang out in Richard Libertini. It's an odd little moment, at a true moment in that movie, where when they could have just had Richard Libertini's voice on the phone, the fact that they thought so hard about, like, what are we going to do, instead of, it could have just been a close-up of Libertini the whole time. Anyway, I really admired that in the first one.
And Gina Davis.
Oh, I always admire Gina Davis. I'm admiring her now.
She's great.
Yeah, she's really good in that. She's fun.
Because we get that character in Confess Fletch.
And Larry. All the ladies have men names in the Gregory Mcdonald books for some reason.
So let's talk a little bit about the new movie. So it does star Jon Hamm. We've kind of mentioned that already. But Father Malone, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on Confess Fletch.
I didn't have very high hopes for the movie. Actually, that's not true. When I heard that the new movie was coming, and when they announced that Greg Mottola was doing it, I actually got quite excited. I know most people just know him from Pineapple Express, probably. Was that his movie?
Nope.
No, Superbad.
Yep. That's not what I know him from, though.
I know him from Adventureland.
Paul is what I know him from.
Oh, Paul. He did Paul.
Paul's amazing.
Yeah, that's a fun movie, man.
That's like that's the best Edgar Wright movie that he never directed.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oh God, I can't believe he did Paul. Anyway,
Paul's in it. Like, I feel like I want to rewatch Paul.
I kind of do now too. I'm sort of now thinking about it instead of focusing on Fletch. But Greg Mottola made the movie Adventureland, which is as sweet a remembrance of sort of like a coming of age situation as you're likely to see. And if he did nothing else his entire life, he could sort of die happily, I think, because it is a sweet, wonderful little movie. So when I heard he was doing Fletch, I thought, well, that sensibility with the character would be really good. And then Jon Hamm, who I like anyway, I thought that's a good thing. And then Slattery, I hear, is going to be in it. So I'm like, yeah, I actually got very excited. And then I started seeing the trailers, and I'm like, I don't know. Seems kind of dead in the water. Seems kind of limp. And evidently their advertising department needs an overhaul, because I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It's like kind of beginning to end. And I don't know that I was actively rooting against it at the beginning, but my expectations weren't very high, and they kind of came up almost immediately, and remained that way throughout. There are some dips and valleys. Look, I'm not saying this is a perfect movie. There are some problems with this movie, but I think now, having read the source material, this is definitely closer to the character that Gregory Mcdonald envisioned. And I thought it was a breezy, fun time.
Yeah.
You hated it.
I know. I enjoyed it. Okay. I went into it with bottom of the barrel subterranean expectations, only because, again, like, what should your expectations be when you're going to see a sequel to your favorite movie with none of the original people in it, and it's a completely reimagined? Like, where should I have been coming at it from is the question that I ultimately have for any fan of anything who's put in this position. Like, what's the appropriate point to put yourself in? Because you don't want to put yourself as like, I'm a super big fan, because then you will be disappointed. But also, you don't want to be like, well, fuck this movie, I'm not going to watch it because it's not what I like, which is also like idiotic beyond words. So I went in effectively with the idea that it is what it is. Like, it could be good, it could be bad. It doesn't take away from the last two movies, which I thoroughly enjoy. And to your point, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was. I enjoyed it about as much as I frankly enjoy the first movie in a lot of ways. It is as successful in a lot of ways as the original one is funny. Like, I'm not going to say that this new movie is as funny as the original one, but that's not the point of this movie. It's trying to balance being more than just a comedy. It's also trying to actually be somewhat of a murder mystery. And the original movie doesn't have any of that at all.
The original, he gets hired by the guy, and then it's just an investigation into the guy. We know he's crooked. It's not a whodunit. It's a,
this is actually
guy.
This is closer to the second movie, actually, in a lot of ways. The second movie is more of just a straight up murder mystery. And this movie is pretty much just like any of the novels I've been reading this year, a lot of these like cozy mystery murder type things like that. This is this. Like, it's like 250 pages, if that, and then you're done. It's 4 hours of reading, and then you're done. Like, these are breezy, short little stories. That's what they are. And this movie is exactly what it needed to be, which is a story featuring Fletch that introduces us to the character, gives us an idea of who he is, where he could be going, and lets him kind of fuck around in the sandbox of a movie for about an hour and a half.
Can't go wrong.
Did it need to be more than that is my question.
No, I don't think so. I think it needed actually less, that they could have gotten rid of some of the, or toned down some of their scenes in here.
Yeah, I agree. Because I'm glad you read the source material, because there is one character in this movie that I feel like you could point a finger at and say, why is this character in the movie like this? Why are they so annoying?
We're talking about Annie Mumolo's character, the next door neighbor.
Oh, I was talking about Marcia Gay Harden's character.
Oh, Marcia Gay. It's kind of annoying in the book too, though, right?
But
even down to the pronunciation of flesh.
But my point is that's from the book, at least.
Yes,
like that, because my wife was like, why is she doing this thing? And I was like, that is taken directly from the book. They're supposed to be full of shit. They're supposed to be full of shit rich people like the Kardashians, right?
Right.
That's my interpretation. Like, they don't know where, like, my wife was like, what accent is that? I was like, they don't even know what accent it is.
Yeah, I had no truck with Marcia Gay Harden's performance. I thought she was in keeping with, like, we're going to use Jon Hamm and make him a comedian, and John Slattery, and
I agree. It's like playing off of her felt like it worked, but yeah, Annie Mumolo. It's like, what is this, a Paul Feig movie? Like, what is this shit? Like, what is this shit? Because that was the worst scene in the movie.
It went on, and we needed like 2 lines. Look, the maid character is the character who delivers all this information to him in the book, right? Like, this is kind of an invent. I mean, there is this character, but not really. So going whole hog with her, like, I don't know. Some of it I thought was funny, and then some of it, like, it could have just been trimmed down. Like that character, there was a lot of that character in a short amount of time, and it was too much.
She plays his Nate. So Fletch. The story is a tad convoluted. So Fletch goes to Boston and he stays at a flat.
Education,
right? at
the dorms, joined a frat
at a preparatory school.
This is the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones song called "They Came to Boston," about all the annoying people that come to Boston every year. Like the students come to Boston, the tourists come to Boston. It's a great song. Anyway, sorry.
But Fletch goes and stays at a place in Boston. A dead body is found there, and he gets him. It turns out it has to do with the paintings that he is there to retrieve for his girlfriend, who's played by Lorena Izzo, and Marcia Gay Harden plays her stepmother. And so these paintings are either stolen and or being held hostage, while their father / her Marcia Gay Harden's husband, is supposedly dead or held hostage because of the paintings, but they think he's dead.
Right. So they hired Fletch initially because the paintings had been stolen. They wanted him to track down the paintings. While that investigation is occurring, the father gets kidnapped, and what they want as a ransom are the stolen paintings.
The missing paintings, yeah.
Right. And he has already tracked the missing paintings down to Boston, but now what was going to be a routine, like, let's get the paintings back, a man's life is on the line. And when he gets to Boston, there's a dead body in his Airbnb.
Great setup.
It is a great setup. And throughout the movie, they sort of deftly give you the clues. It's never overwhelming enough, and it's never the Fletch series. What I'm found out in the books is it's never really a big twist. Like the twist comes and it's just delivered kind of matter of factly, and then we kind of figure out why they're doing what they're doing as opposed to how or who.
Right.
And I think this movie does that very, very well.
I agree. I mean, again, the setup is a little convoluted. I think, you've got a mystery within a mystery, which is fine. And I think it works better in a film setting than it does in the book, just because you can kind of see everything happening as it happens. And they give you kind of an idea of the book doesn't give you as much of the other characters. It's almost all Fletch. In the movie, you do get to see a little bit more of Kyle MacLachlan. You get to see more of the Detective Monroe characters. So you get the story spread out a little bit more, because in the book, it's really like Fletch this, Fletch that, Fletch this, Fletch that, over and over again. You follow him almost entirely throughout the book.
And let me just say that they've made a definite improvement here in screenplay format in making Mcdonald's female characters a little more believable and a little more relevant.
Well, I will tell you that in some of the later books, especially the next one, it's real bad. I'm
sure it is. You can already see in the female characters that he likes, how they're sort of treated. And I think everything is an improvement here in the movie. Particularly with the love interest character, but even more particular is the gender swap. My favorite character in the movie is Grizz, Inspector Monroe's assistant. I think she was fantastic. What a good character.
Well, and the fact that she gives it back to Fletch every time.
And by turns sort of unsure of herself and making horrible mistakes and having horrible mistakes foisted on her. Like, to me, she was the hero of the movie. She was the one actually doing the investigation.
Well, there's a scene where she says as much, right? She's like, no, I found that. Found that. Well, and I agree with you. I think that's the thing about the Fletch character that kind of always felt, at least in the original movie, they kind of missed the point, is he's not the smartest guy, and he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room, but he's not. And he's also
very rarely is, it seems.
Right.
It's just he's the one who can navigate his way through everyone.
Right. And that, I think, is important for what the character that Jon Hamm is portraying is. In Fletch, the original, he's like omniscient in a lot of ways. Like, he knows everything.
Right. And every character is an idiot. Like I said, in the original, he's giving them fake names like Harry S. Truman. And, it's
Igor Stravinsky.
Right. And he's dressing outlandishly. It's like everything you wouldn't want to do to infiltrate or get information out of people, like that character does. So they have to make the characters he's getting the information from even dumber. So he can.
But doesn't Jon Hamm kind of does that, though, in this movie? My Mike Wahlberg.
Yeah, well, that just makes him look like an idiot.
But I think that's my point. Like, they do it in this movie, but it's done exactly the way it has to be done now.
Yes.
Which is like, you're an idiot. Like, you look like a dum-dum.
Yeah, for those kids, he needed to be that guy. And then he needed to be sort of an effete snob when he's interviewing the Lucy Punch character. Like, he's in cahoots with her, Like that, you see that character behaving how that character ought to be, instead of just like, it's going to be at the circus, I'll dress like a clown, like, okay.
I mean, he's still kind of doing that, but it's a lot more subtle.
Yeah, like it's, you steal someone's ID badge so you can get into the building. You don't dress like a mailbox.
This reminds me of Mafia. Lenny the mailbox Fatucci. It's just a mailbox and a guy peeking out. Bud Light. That is kind of the thing about the original Fletch movie that obviously, we've always, joked about, and, I've photoshopped and have been photoshopped into Fletch photos before. But I mean, even in the poster for that movie, right? That's what it's about.
That's a great poster.
It's showing him holding all the pictures, and it's a hockey player, which they cut out of the movie. Then him as the Laker, then him as the doctor, and then him as Dr. As the faith healer, Dr. Bubba Al Rum, or whatever the fuck it says on there.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. A 12-year-old me loved that.
It's not elevated, but it didn't have to be.
No, because they were just getting the point across. And it was just Chevy Chase being Chevy Chase.
But that's like the conceit. I think that's what that Fletch character is, almost like a master of disguise, is what his thing is.
Right.
But like unbelievably so. I mean, but it's not believable though. Realistically, it's not believable.
No, not at all. Like, nurse, give me a paper bag to cover my mouth while these guys are standing behind me. There's nothing suspicious going on here. Like, come on.
Yeah. But again, like if you can suspend your disbelief that long, it works for what that Fletch movie is. But they could not do it in this movie. And that is shown as such, given like we don't even really have a lot of those scenes. That's like a lot of the first movie is just like him in character, Gordon Liddy, which is like the least realistic one out of all of them, is saying his name is G. Gordon Liddy.
Yeah.
This is 85.
Everyone knew who G. Gordon Liddy was then,
Yeah. But they don't do that in this movie. Like they do it, but they do the right thing by like having scenes where it works. And then they have scenes where like the characters within the scene point out how stupid it is.
Right. Yeah. And I like that you said that. Like the Chevy Chase version of Fletch is the smartest guy in the room. He'll always be the smartest guy in the room. This guy isn't, but does think he is, or at least knows enough that he can fake his way through any situation. Like perfect example, like him navigating through the yacht club where he sort of shows up with the caterers and just slowly makes his way through high and drinking and grabs a coat, puts it on, makes his way to the boat. Like that makes sense. Nobody would notice that guy. The guy who came dressed as a Commodore, with a fireworks thing going off behind him, like, I've arrived. That would be Chevy Chase in this situation. And clearly that would not work. Although they do use fireworks in this scene.
Well, and there are scenes where Fletch doesn't do that in the original movie, though. But there are scenes where he does. So it's hard to they use restraint in that original movie to great effect, but it's not throughout. It's throughout in this movie. They use restraint every time they do it in this movie, constantly. Like it is not a laugh a minute movie. It's more like it's kind of like a chuckle fest in a way.
Absolutely. This was never going to be a head back laughing kind of flick. But then again, those books aren't either. Those books are amusing. Those books are satisfying, but they're not like
up until a point, because they start getting real not good. I mean, at some point they stop being interesting. I mean, Fletch ends up investigating. He gets fired at one point for quoting someone who was dead. Then he goes on the campaign trail. Then there's a story of him in Brazil that takes place after the first movie. And then there are the two Fletch prequels, which are pretty good. Fletch 1 and Fletch 2, which almost are as good as the original book.
What about Son of Fletch?
And then there's Fletch Reflected and then Son of Fletch. Son of Fletch is okay. Fletch Reflected I haven't read it yet. I have heard it's okay.
Did you ever read those Precinct novels by Ed McBain? He's got one gazillion of. They're very similar to the McDonald novels, except they're all really, really good, and they never really sort of flagged in content.
Wow. I thought you were going to say, have I ever seen Running Scared?
Have you?
Nope.
Man, let's watch it right now.
That's another Gregory Mcdonald joint.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's a good movie.
Sure is, yeah.
It's a good plot. And then, see, even with the Chevy Chase version of the character, that plot is solid. They knew not to stray too far from it in that movie.
Right. Guy gets approached on the beach to murder him. Like that, that gets your attention immediately. Similarly to this movie, like this premise, what I don't understand is like in the original Fletch, like why create your own thing? Like there was like you could have done Confess Fletch, like it would have made sense.
Yeah, they could have done any of the books, really. I mean, there was a fuck ton of them, Yeah. They could have at least come up with a decent mystery and not some sort of ridiculous, like on a plantation and like what is the televangelist? Like I get it, that was a heady target at the time, but like
by the time Fletch the original had come out, Fletch the prequel book had already come out. He like Gregory Mcdonald was already like at the point where he's like I'm done, because he takes some time. He writes Fletch 1 in 85. Fletch 2, which is the second prequel book. And then he doesn't write another Fletch book for 7 years until Son of Fletch in 93.
Wow.
Which is like right after that, when the movie came out too. So.
Right. But they still, I mean, there was no dearth of material. Like, they could have, for whatever they wanted that sequel to be.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the way that Zev Barrow and Greg Mottola adapt this story to this movie shows that I think they understand the source material better than anybody else, but like paying it lip service, but also saying like, we can't do most of this anymore because there'd be no point. So we're just going to take the framework and work off of that. which I think is the right move anyways.
Absolutely. You're not supposed to just retype the book, for fuck's sake. And you're not supposed to just throw the book away. There's got to be a happy medium in here. And I think these guys did it. Like I said, there were problems with the movie. I didn't like the Andy Mumolo character very much at all. But then again, we haven't even talked about him. This movie has John Slattery, a Boston boy here in Beantown, in the hub.
Taking the Richard Libertini role over.
Oh, my God. And he's so good. And I just want more and more and more of him.
Well, it's proper antagonist. It's the way it is in the book, and they kind of hint at it in the movies, but it's not as like strong. In this, it's like, I don't like you.
Right. The bond between these two guys, it doesn't hurt that we watched them for however many years on Mad Men together, but the bond between these two guys feels strong and full of respect. And the Richard Libertini, Chevy Chase thing, like you could tell there was respect there, but he really viewed him as nothing but a pain in the ass, and he was a little bit apoplectic about him. Whereas this feels a little nuanced, like everything else.
Well, and I think, Greg Mottola, obviously his strong suit is character interactions and writing believable characters. I'm not a big fan of Superbad, but it is one of those few non-Judd Apatow movies that really, I think for a lot of people, still has some staying power.
Well, no matter what you want to say about that movie, but the level of humor, like there's a very sort of sweet human center there.
At the center of it, yeah, I agree,
about these 2
100%.
friends not understanding how to say goodbye to each other. That's a good reason to make a movie. And Greg Mottola seems to use those reasons to make his movies, so I'm a fan of it. Right.
And look, Paul is not written by Greg Mottola; it's purely directed by him. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost wrote it, but it's still a good movie. He brought
a heart.
Yeah. It has more heart than almost the Edgar Wright movies.
A little, yeah, in some cases. Some of those movies are ciphers. Not Shaun of the Dead. That's all heart, but
Yeah, I like the things I've seen of Greg Mottola's, and I feel like the Fletch franchise is in good hands with him as the director if he wants to continue to be the director. I don't know if this movie was successful enough. I'm
wondering that too. Like we're so far in it right now where, that there's no remove. So who knows? I would hope everyone enjoyed the experience of making it and would be game to do it again, because I would really like them to. I would like to see now Fletch on the West Coast,
Well, and the thing that I don't understand, I read an interview that Uproxx did with Greg Mottola, and they were just like, no marketing, huh?
There was no marketing.
Literally no marketing. Like, fuck you. Like, what? And you know what? They probably said, well, this movie was a failure. It's like, well, yeah, you got to advertise movies. People know that they're coming out.
Yeah, I mean, I saw some previews for it because I sought them out because I had heard the movie was made and I was curious. Yeah. It wasn't like I saw it in any theaters or any streaming services necessarily.
Nope. And it came out on Paramount Plus, I think, is what it came out on.
Yeah.
Which is, I know, like a lesser.
Right. But they could be massive. Like if they would, I don't know, advertise a decent movie like this one is. This should have been was it not released theatrically? Like
it was a limited theatrical.
I have seen some dogs in the theater recently, and like this, I would have walked out with a smile on my face for once.
Well, it's getting a release on Showtime at the end of this month, but
well, good. Hopefully more people will see it because this is a great character and they've got a lot of good source material, and they seem to be able to extricate the more problematic elements from the original source material and make it more interesting overall. So I think this deserves another chance. I got to mention a couple of Boston things here. Okay.
Sure.
Two things. The line, "You better take off that hat or they're going to cut your head off." That's a great line before he takes him to a bar because he's wearing a Lakers hat, and Boston fans in a bar definitely would have murdered Fletch. And the other thing I want to mention is in the sort of police bullpen where they're letting Fletch go and Grizz is leading him out of the building. And they have obviously a lot of like a local Boston actors because their accents are all flawless. But one of them yells out something about pissa, which is a thing people say that people in Boston say wicked pissa, Pissah. I've never known anyone to say it ever, other than this perpetuation that we say it. And I hear people in Boston saying that people say it, and I've never heard anyone actually say it conversation. Like pissa. Oh, it's a real pissa. Like maybe they did it in the 60s or 70s. I just
heard you say it.
Yeah, you heard me say it. And now somebody else will think somebody from Boston says it because they heard it, but that's not the case. I don't know, man. Anyway, pet peeve of mine, that wicked piss of bullshit.
Aren't you glad there wasn't more of that?
I was so glad. Slattery's perfect. That Slattery's Boston accent is superlative. I mean, he grew up there, but a lot of people move away and can't do it when they go back. So
he's great. I mean, yeah, it's a little on the nose, right, to cast him opposite Jon Hamm, but it totally works.
Oh, because
it would be stunt cast. It would be stunt casting, though. You know what I mean?
It would have been if they weren't so goddamn good. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I agree. I 100% agree. And let's talk about the hog in the room. Big hog, from what we've heard. Jon Hamm.
Yes. Where are we going?
All of his.
Are we judging his
all of his prior stuff aside, he is fantastic in this movie.
Yeah. I was a little worried that we weren't going to get the actual charm of the guy, that we were going to get the sort of Don Draper charm.
The trailers made him look like a dummy.
Yes.
And what a weird, so weird.
Right. They kind of focused on him, the character Fletch, acting like an idiot in order to fool somebody. But that's all we were getting. So it's like, wait, is Fletch an idiot here? Like,
oh, but I am adorable. Like, what? That line should not have been in the movie.
No, that line shouldn't have been in the movie. Definitely shouldn't have been featured in the trailer. Definitely turned my stomach a little bit like, oh, really? Like, that's what they're doing with this? But yeah.
It's just like some of those lines, they felt like they were for the trailer.
That one, definitely.
Right. But it's weird because most of the time the character is on point with what he should be for this universe, which is able to have a pithy comeback, but ultimately he can't fix anything. He can't solve anything on his own.
That line would have been okay if Jason Sudeikis had been cast as Fletch, which was in the offing at one point. But I am adorable. You can imagine Jason Sudeikis saying that. But Jon Hamm, it just seems like, why are you saying that, sir?
I can hear Sudeikis saying it.
Yeah.
In his like Sudeikis-y response.
Sudeikis-y cadence.
Yeah. But I am adorable. Like I can hear him saying it in my head.
Yeah. But this character wouldn't say it. That guy, the guy that we're given now as Fletch, would never say that. I am adorable. No, the guy who called the police business line, knowing that that's one step closer to getting him off the hook as far as, being a suspect, is not the guy saying like, I'm adorable. Look at me.
I really like that scene that they kept that from the book. The whole, I'm not going to call 911. I'm going to call the police business line.
Great. Oh, yeah. Call the homicide department. They love these. That's a great line. And that's indicative of the level of humor that the character of Fletch, it just like exudes in the book. And I think it's one of the funniest lines of the thing. So
how did you feel about I'd kill for a macchiato line? That's another trailer line. It's another trailer line.
No, see that all the trailer lines felt false to the character.
Which I don't understand, because like they advertised the unfunny parts of the movie.
And should have excised them from the final print. Like we should have watched the movie and went, where were all those lines?
I agree. I genuinely agree that the movie that they advertised and the version of the character that they advertised should not be the version that we see in the movie. And it like peeks through occasionally.
Yeah.
Everything else is just Jon Hamm operating in like a weird pseudo comedic way. Like he's not funny, but he is. He's
light.
He's not telling jokes. I mean, the original Fletch isn't telling jokes either, but he's saying weird things. Oh, pup and taco, I'll have a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich. Like,
Yes, he definitely speaks to confuse, but that's okay.
Right. But like that, what was funny in the original. Like they don't do a lot of that in this one. No. It's more of just.
Yeah, and look, there are no real jokes in the thing. Like,
no.
Here's another Boston thing that I thought was very funny. Eugene Merman, who is the voice of Gene on Bob's Burgers, plays a security guard at the yacht club, right? And so like that opening scene where he's telling everyone that he can't eat shellfish because he's hoping somebody will bring him a plate of food. That's awesome. And then later he keeps trying to impress people that he once was the security guard overseeing Peter Wolf's boat, which if you're from Boston, the Jay Giles band in the 70s and 80s were the biggest fucking thing, only eclipsed by Aerosmith. And Peter Wolf was their lead singer. So like him like rattling off the list of Jay Giles band songs, like nobody remembers any of this, man. Like that to me was really, really funny.
I thought it was pretty funny too.
Okay. All right. Well,
I enjoyed it because it was like, who is like either Zev Barrow or Greg Mottola was like, it was got to make it into the movie. Somebody actively fought to keep that in the movie.
They should have, and I'm glad they did.
It for me, it reminds me of where comedy is now. Do you know what I mean? Like the original Fletch is such an 80s like comedic, like that movie is like dyed in the wool comedy. And then this this has those trappings of like, we don't want to go all the way.
Right. Yeah. We want to keep it a little loose here and a little silly off to the side. Like,
yeah, we don't want the silliness to overwhelm
it's a bit
everything.
Meta, right? Like, we don't want the silliness to be any big part of this thing, but we do want to acknowledge the silly.
Right. We're not going to have Jon Hamm in a wig.
Right. Yeah. We're not going to do that, but we will have a conversation with Eugene Merman about the Jay Giles band. And we're going to have a fireworks moment and he's going to be really annoying and silly. But then again, have you ever met these security guards late at night? Not too far off.
I honestly feel like that had to have come from like a real life interaction.
It felt very real to me. I know it's played for like giggles, but like I don't even know
if it's played for giggles. Like I was laughing at it because I was like, who is going to find this funny?
Right. Well,
I found it funny. You found it funny because like, who cares about the Jay Giles band that much?
Right. But like, that's because that guy I know is out there.
Right.
We've all met him, and a weird thing to put him in the movie, but like a necessary distraction, a better thing than some other contrived thing to get the characters looking in the wrong way.
Agreed. And hey, you know what? A movie with Kyle MacLachlan's never bad.
Oh man, we haven't even mentioned Kyle MacLachlan.
Essentially playing his character from How I Met Your Mother.
I never watched that show.
He's playing like his character in How I Met Your Mother, I believe is actually called the Commodore, which can't be it is a coincidence, but it can't be a coincidence because there is a character in this film also
named the Commodore. Yeah.
Right.
But then the book, we got a Commodore in the book too. So they could, and maybe they know that this is total coincidence is what it is. But
no way. No way. I mean, it is a coincidence, but it's just like, it's weird. He's also playing the same character though. Like from How I Met Your Mother, he's kind of this rich, uptight dickhead. And in this, he's just playing this rich, uptight agoraphobe. Like it's the same. It's weird. It's very strange.
Yeah.
I mean, you would have to have seen both.
Right. Which, by the way,
what a weird character.
When they said that, I was like, oh, well, that's a little shticky, like, let's see what, Eugene Levy with 2 left feet in, but watching Kyle MacLachlan using ultraviolet wands that he's using to disinfect things as glow sticks viewed through his window by Fletch, like through binoculars, made it all the worth it. Like, that was a great moment, and I'm glad they added, because that's obviously not in the book. Not that he had an addiction to EDM in 1974 or something when that book came out, but like that character is a nothing character effectively in the book. He's just the guy who does what he does, and we don't get any other shades of him at all. Like this is kind of a superficial means of giving us this character's motivations, but we know a little bit more about who he is thanks to that, and MacLachlan.
Well, Kyle MacLachlan just elevates everything that he's in. I mean, he's fantastic. He's fantastic in this. Don't want to give too much away given that it's a new movie, but he's good.
Yeah, he's good. And he's not, he's another piece of the puzzle here. Like most of the people in the movie are really good. So even Annie Mumolo is good at doing what she does. It's just that character is unnecessary at the level that they allowed it to happen.
It feels very Melissa McBride. Again, it feels very much just like weird physical comedy that just, it doesn't.
Melissa McCarthy?
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy. God damn it. I always forget the fucking name. Yeah. The chick from Ghostbusters 2016.
Yeah, it
feels very like
performance.
Fatty go down, fart and make funnies. Like it's that same, like you're fat and uncoordinated. Like, okay. Like we've seen this shit a million times now.
Oh, but here she's a stoner and it is so sort of careless. I guess. But like, you know what? How many times have we seen that character? Like,
right. It feels, I don't know. It feels like rather low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
And out of another movie entirely. Definitely not this one. Everything else is so well written and well thought out. And then it's just like a character who stepped in from, I guess, from another 80s movie in the same vein as Fletch, frankly.
Maybe she's there to allow Marcia Gay Harden to shine as she actually is, to remind us like this part could have been played by this type of actress. And instead we're getting something a little nuanced. I thought Marcia Gay Harden's performance was very funny. I did on occasion think, because I watched the movie twice, like could another person have done better here? And like probably, maybe, but like, you know,
I like Marcia Gay Harden. It's just that character can be annoying.
Right. But that's kind of the purpose of the character. So brava.
I agree. Like it's intentional. Again, that accent is like, where is that accent from? Like I said, I'm not even sure that they know.
No idea.
They're European of some variety and they're pretending, you know, they're supposed to be Italian, but like that's as fake an Italian accent as you can get.
Yeah, it's not great. No, definitely not compared to her daughter, who I believe it is actually Italian, and that's her real accent.
No, she's Chilean.
Chilean. Oh my God. So, actors, you can't trust them.
Also more believable though. The daughter the stepdaughter kind of a cipher though. I mean, intentionally.
Oh, I don't think so at all. I like her character a tremendous amount. That's one of the things I was saying was an improvement over the book. Like I got who that lady was, you know, like as opposed to just sort of somebody that Fletch is fucking and like dealing with their whodunit or where done it or whatever.
Well, and they also make her bigger in the climax of the movie, which is not in the book, right?
Right. No. And I think the movie's all the better for it. Like, yeah, I liked her a lot, actually. I thought she was charming and good character, better character than would have initially gotten. Certainly if they had like made Confess Fletch, even with Chevy Chase in 88, it wasn't going to be this.
No, the female characters in Fletch are not always represented very well. Mostly just love interests and or damsel in distresses.
Right, so, which is inherent in a sort of private investigating, which is what this is all about, basically. Like, you're going to have a new love interest with every sort of story. It's not necessary for him to have the same sort of touchstone, but, you know, they should be good characters. They should be characters that are worthy of Fletch, right? You know, they should. Otherwise, he's more of a diminished character than, well, he is a diminished character in the books because he's just sleeping with morons, basically. But like, they should be to his level if he's interested romantically in them. At least from my perspective as an audience member. Like, I don't want to watch Jon Hamm just being cavalier. We've seen him do that for 8 years as Don Draper. Like, I want to see this guy interact with people in a meaningful way.
I agree. This version of Fletch really does need better characters to operate off of. Otherwise, he will just be smart guy making funny noises at dummies.
Right.
Which is fine. That's why those movies work, is because it leans on it hard. But I don't need that now. Like, I wouldn't want, that's the other thing about this movie. Never a singular bit of nostalgia creeps through, like, at all. There were no callbacks to the original movie at all. If anything, there's seed planting for the next movie, which is based off of the next book. But they don't he used to work with him at the LA Times, whatever. Like, they don't say, remember that one time? There's none of them remember anything.
Right. And
which I was surprised by. I
was too, like, boldly, not dismissive of the original. I'm sure they don't have any ill will towards it, but like, there's no reason to go back and wink at the audience at all in this film. Like, this is a new world. Like, this is Irwin Fletcher.
I know, but like, you can't tell me that you would not have expected them to do something.
If it weren't Greg Mottola, I would have.
If it was Kevin Smith,
it would have been like Fletch and Fletch's dad, played by Chevy Chase. That's what was going to happen.
I mean, that's okay. That could have been interesting for what that would have been.
For that would have been a nice continuation of that film series, and that could have worked.
Like Indiana Jones' Last Crusade, but with Fletch? That could be interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be Son of Fletch, like almost immediately. They probably would have led with that one.
Yeah, Son of Fletch has a pretty good opening with his son. I will say, like, those, I don't know.
They could go back and do all of the Fletch books, but, with having the son character do it. But then that would be a definite continuation from the Chevy Chase character.
Yeah, well, they can always do a Fletch prequel story as well, because that's already baked into it. They already have prequels and sequels baked into Fletch with the way Gregory Mcdonald wrote.
Right.
Look, I don't know if they make any more movies past this. I hope that they do. But this is a very good starting place for a franchise that has been sitting dormant for 20 plus years. I remember reading a copy of Entertainment Weekly. Was it Entertainment Weekly? Where they talked about movies in development hell, and Fletch was one of them. I wish I could go and find that copy and look at all the development hell projects that finally happened.
Yeah.
Like Star Wars, like Indiana Jones, like this.
Right.
Like Watchmen.
Watchmen was the grail forever and ever and ever. Like, no, it's never, ever going to happen. It's Terry Gilliam's doing it. Oh, we're all so excited. No, Terry Gilliam dropped out.
And what makes me mad is on Wikipedia, it used to have this big thing about in like the original Fletch movie, like all the production sequel information. And now it's been condensed down to one paragraph now that they finally made the movie. There was a Sudeikis movie at one point. There was a Zach Braff movie at one point. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Zach Braff was mentioned at one point as was that like 2020? That was as recently as 2020. Yeah.
That's horrifying that got that close. That was that recent. It's like we missed an asteroid. Like, we find out after the fact, at least for me. Ooh. That would have been the worst one. Like, I was going to decry Jason Lee as Irwin Fletcher. Oh, no. Definitely cast Jason Lee.
I think Jason Lee could have worked.
Yeah, I mean, if they were going that route, then yes, he's the natural extension of Chevy Chase.
Honestly, I think Zach Braff could have worked too. If you lean on how smug he is. If you lean on but if that's the intent, though, that's okay. Doesn't mean the problem is I'm not sure I'm going to like that character. That's
I never got smug off of the character in the book, though. Like smug is because Chevy Chase played.
But that's my point.
Chase is naturally smug.
But that's my point. It's almost like casting Zach Braff is recasting. See, that was the issue I was worried about. Is were they going to recast Chevy Chase or were they going to cast Fletch? And I think they cast Fletch. In Confess Fletch. 100. I think in OG Fletch, it was they cast Chevy Chase. Yeah. Who's funny? Zach Braff feels like recasting Chevy Chase.
Absolutely. Because that and the worst aspects of him, the sort of smug aspect of him.
Honestly, casting Jason Sudeikis would have felt like just casting a comedian. Like the fact that they didn't cast a comedian whole cloth, I think is one of the smartest things Greg Mottola did. Cast an actual actor to actually play Fletch. As a actual character, not just as a stand-up comedian, one-line bit, which does work in the original movie, but it could not have worked here.
Yeah, not everyone can be funny, but plenty of actors can be, and let them at it. Because I need to care about the guy too. I don't need just a wisecracking machine,
Well, and in 85, when you didn't expect any more from your characters other than laughs. I mean, look, it's like in the original Ghostbusters, we were getting all of the information about Egon's home life or Peter Venkman's family, for fuck's sake. That's stuff that we care about now as contemporary audiences. Actually giving the characters more than a paper-thin background to punch holes through immediately like you're shooting at targets with a BB gun. That's what almost all the 80s comedies, at least the good ones, the characters are very broadly written. We don't worry about the nuances of Egon Spengler and Winston Zeddemore or Irwin Fletcher for that matter. We remember him because they say funny shit. That's why.
Yeah. And you cast actors that bring the baggage with them.
Oh, you cast Chevy Chase as a comedic character? Wow.
I know.
What a slam dunk layup,
they
baby.
Weren't reaching much, certainly.
But you know what? Like that's
they didn't need to.
No, that's kind of the point, right? Like,
yeah,
why not?
Like the script for Ghostbusters isn't that great, but that movie works because of those guys and everything else in concert, and it didn't need to, like you said, I don't need to know anything more about Ray or any of those guys than they give us because I can see Dan Aykroyd and what's going on in his head, like we don't need a depth characterization, but if we're adapting these books and we intend to keep doing it, then this is the route we should be pursuing, which is an actual human being at the center of these mysteries that he doesn't find himself in. He's an investigative journalist. He's out looking for these things to happen.
Right.
With the comedian, it'll always feel like they're just happenstance,
Well, and I don't think that a film where it's a comedian has the same staying power that actually giving him a character to be a character, not just a one-liner machine. Like there's just that I just don't think anybody's going to show up for that anymore. Case in point, something like Anchorman. Like, I don't even think a movie like Anchorman could work anymore as well as it used to. You know, like it's just there's got to be more. And with Confess Fletch, you look at this movie and go, the original movie is a straight comedy. This isn't. And you know what? Like, I honestly feel like this is the way all nostalgia should be approached. Thank you for making the original, but we're going to do our own thing. And they did. They really did.
And well.
Yeah. Almost as good. I mean, again, as good as the original, because you can't even compare this to the original. In a lot of ways, it's so much its own thing. I'm not saying there aren't other movies to compare it to, but it doesn't deserve to be compared to the original movie, because that's not fair to either movie, frankly.
And you know what? We've had a billion of these sort of private investigatory shows and movies and novels since the Chevy Chase one and this one. The fact that this one is breezy and fun and a overall good movie is kind of an achievement. You know, like it has a lot to compare it to, not just the original Chevy Chase thing, you know?
It in a lot of ways, it carries the spirit of the original books, of the original movie even, but it does it in a way that I think is more palatable for smarter audiences, more evolved audiences, filmgoers who have more options. I mean, again, in 85, you went and saw what was at the movie theater.
Yeah.
So you make it for everybody. I mean, you don't have to make this for everybody now. And I don't think they made this for fans of the book particularly. I think they made this for fans of this genre and this style of film, which is a detective. Yeah, like we said, detective. There are lots of detectives in books and movies that aren't detectives at all, but do a lot of detecting. And Fletch is one of them.
Our favorites are all not actually private detectives.
Right.
I would imagine, you know, like
Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang. Kiss, bang, bang. Like he's an actor. Like if I want my detective to be a detective, I'll go and read those stories. But most of the time I just want it to be like just a person. It's the whole John McClane thing, right? Like,
right. That movie works because of John McClane.
Yeah, because he's a cop, but he's an off-duty cop.
Yeah.
And even him being a cop is maybe too much, frankly. Like,
yeah, even so, but like, I mean, it gives him a grounding against terrorists, but like, he's not equipped to deal with that situation at all. He's a New York beat cop.
Right. You know? And like Fletch is the same character. Like he's equipped for it, but like he should always feel out of his depth.
You know, what's funny? When Die Hard came out at the time, Bruce Willis did every interview and he said like, well, I think what works about this is, you know, John McClane's a real guy. And that is what worked about it, because we had been given a steady stream of muscle bound action guys up until then. But I remember sitting with a friend of mine named Matt Henkin, who's a former classmate of mine, who turned to me, and when he said, yeah, it works because he's a real person, he went, yeah, a real person who can fall down a ventilation shaft and catch himself by his fingertips. He's one of those regular Joes.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they can't all be real, all right?
I'm not bagging on the movie at all. And Bruce Willis was correct, but, you know, it's just funny.
But I mean, to your point, though, like, it makes it a more interesting story when you can get one over on Fletch. And I feel like in this movie, there's a lot of that. And in the original, there's none of that.
Right. We never doubt where Fletch is or like what level he's at as far as like one-upsmanship in that movie. Whereas this Fletch is actually figuring out a mystery.
Yeah. And he's not even the one to stop it, if not for the fact that the cops are there. Yeah, I mean, not to spoil it, but like he is not even the reason it gets resolved.
Yeah, and that's a right and proper.
Right, I agree.
In the situation, you know,
I agree.
He's not a gun-toting, like, you know,
like you said about Carl Kolchak. It's that same thing.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
Yeah, but like his thing is probably not going to be enough because he's not equipped for this. You know.
I mean, he could probably handle himself, but like, you know, he ain't a cop.
No. And that's, you know, they keep making a point of that in this movie, reinforcing, you know, who do they hate more, journalists or cops? Cops. Definitely cops.
Great line. That's a Fletch line, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing about this movie. Like, even if this is the first outing with a new director and a new cast and a new kind of mindset, I'm excited to see where it goes. And that might be sacrilege. There might be people out there that are huge Fletch fans that did not like this movie. And my response to them would be, did you not like this movie? Or did you not like that it wasn't the movie that Chevy Chase would have made? And it's like, it's got to be the latter because it's not the former, because this is a good movie. And I'm shocked to be saying that.
I'm shocked you're saying it, actually.
I got no problem saying it. That's the thing. Like there are so many people, man, that are just like, no, Batman vs. Superman's great. It's like, dude, you know it's not. objectively, it's a bad movie. Objectively, there are plenty of things wrong with it. It's great. That's amazing. Or like all these, it's like you can't objectively, this is a good film, period.
Yeah, I mean,
your subjective opinion is going to be what it is. It is a well-made, well put together, well thought out film that doesn't fall into the nostalgia trappings every other one of these movies made like this would have, because we've seen them do it time and time. I don't even know if Greg Mottola likes Fletch, to be honest with you.
Who knows?
Does it fucking matter?
No, not at all.
And that's what I like about this. Is like, it doesn't even matter if he likes Fletch or not, because I'm not sure I need someone who likes Fletch to write Fletch. I need someone who understands Fletch to write Fletch.
Kevin Smith could only give us Chevy Chase's Fletch.
Right, of course.
I'm sure he read all of those books and was interested in adapting them, but he was interested in adapting the character that he knew, which was Chevy Chase, and would have crafted the character from the books to meet that guy.
And that's okay in a way, if you want to do that.
If they wanted to have done that.
Right.
My favorite anecdote about that is that Kevin Smith met with the studio head, said, I want to do a Fletch movie. And they said, okay, well, who are you thinking about for playing Fletch? And he said, well, Chevy Chase, of course. And they said, yeah, we're not in the Chevy Chase business.
I wonder why.
Yeah, right. Soon as the crown started to slip there, everyone was like, oh, do we really want to work with him anymore?
Well, and that's the thing about this movie that I do have some hope for, is that Jon Hamm's not going anywhere.
Hopefully no one is going anywhere, and they're just going to move forward with a film series. These seem like look, I'm not denigrating the amount of craft that went into this movie. It was a very well made movie, but they could make more of these quickly and not make us wait 5 and 6 years in between. That would be nice.
I was going to say, as much as I do like this movie, there is a level of workmanship that just feels, you know what I mean? This movie feels workmanlike in a way.
It's not all beauty.
No, I appreciate that it's shot in Boston.
Definitely. I definitely did. Although it makes Boston look like Boston is 100% Back Bay and Cohasset with that fucking
cobblestone streets, baby.
Yeah, what is
brownstones,
London,
all brownstones, baby.
No, it's all brownstones. It's a yacht club, and then it's like this indistinct industrial zone, which is probably near East Boston or somewhere. But that's all Boston is.
Yeah, I did appreciate that, because all the times I've been to Boston, I don't think I've ever been to where those brownstones are. I think where Sam Adams is in Boston is where the brownstones are. Isn't that in Jamaica?
It's the
that's
South,
where all the molasses spilled everywhere.
Oh my God! Yeah, the Great Molasses Flood. I can't believe you know about that.
Of course I know, but that's where Sam Adams is, because they always talk about it in the summertime when it gets hot. You can smell.
You can still smell the molasses.
You still smell that molasses.
But that is a horrific nightmare event that occurred in Boston, with a gigantic tub of molasses burst and spilled out on the streets. People died. It was
should we do a show on that?
We probably should.
Just call it molasses.
If you want to do a scary stories we tell on that, that is a scary story, friend.
That's a wild story, man.
Yeah.
But that's old Boston. That's what I think of when I think of old, and around Faneuil Hall, right?
Faneuil.
That's old Boston.
Too many letters, and then we'll pronounce it any goddamn way we want.
How do you pronounce it?
Faneuil Hall. Faneuil Hall.
What are you saying?
Faneuil Hall. Okay, it's Faneuil Hall, and then it's just Faneuil Hall.
Yeah. All right. Sure.
Faneuil Hall. Where are you going, Faneuil Hall?
You can eat there. I know that.
Oh, yeah, man. You sure can.
You can eat a big old tomahawk ribeye there.
Absolutely. I spent a goodly portion of my youth running around Faneuil Hall. So.
But that's not all Boston is. Boston is a major metropolitan city with a lot of suburbs. And it's this is...
Hey, you know what?
One part of Boston. But it worked. It worked.
It works because this is these are the circles he's running in. There's no reason he should be at Revere Beach.
He's with all the rich, he's with the rich people.
Yeah, it makes sense. Maybe he would be in Marblehead. Hi, Gretchen.
I'm with you. I want to see Fletch on the West Coast again. Tell the original Fletch story as the third movie.
I want to see Fletch at a Lakers game for reals. Not with a fro and Kareem narrating.
Okay, yeah, but so what? That's come on.
That's low hanging fruit, right?
That's
there.
one of the best parts of that original movie.
Yes, it absolutely is. And one thing that I loved when I saw it.
You know what? And you know what, though? Like, it might sound like that this movie has diminished my appreciation for the original movie. It's made me appreciate the original movie even more because I genuinely realize how successful that movie is without having to be anything Fletch at all. Like,
yeah, it's a good movie. There's no question about it.
It's nothing to do with Fletch in a lot of ways, but like in and of itself, that's kind of it's surprising that it could be successful and still call itself Fletch.
Yeah, and this, obviously this is based on the book and has nothing to do with the first movie because it's not based on that book. But you could take like a remake of a film, like the David Cronenberg's remake of The Fly is obviously superior to the original, right? But that doesn't mean that original film doesn't have charm and is any less powerful. It's its own version of it. Like they can.
Our frequent co-host Heather Drain puts it best. It doesn't mean that the other movies are gone,
right? Like I
guess you could still go watch Fletch right now. It's not the Disney vault. Not all of a sudden Confess Fletch came out. All the versions of Fletch that existed before don't exist anymore.
It's easier to find Fletch Lives than Fletch, though.
For the longest time, you could not find Fletch on DVD. I had to buy a out-of-print copy that was $30 at the time off somebody on eBay in like the mid-2000s because it was out of print.
Yeah, that's crazy. I bought my copy of Near Dark like that, but I got it at a low price, and then everything afterwards, it was like $100 or more. I was just like, what? Just release this movie, like.
I remember when they released Chevy Chase is Fletch, the Jane Doe edition. Ugh. Yeah. It was when they were doing all those they were doing all those 80s movies being re-released, like the Don't Call Me Shirley edition for Airplane.
The high school blah blah blah, John Hughes, blah blah blah.
I do want to comment though. Since we've talked about it a little bit, Fletch Lives is still a funny movie for what it is, and it has a fantastic performance by Hal Holbrook is fantastic.
Look, you're now hitting me with Holbrook, and that's unfair.
And Cleavon Little and Randall Tex Cobb, and and those are the people that are in the movie. I mean, you have the people from the original movie. Arlie Ermey's he's playing against type. Holy like one of the greatest roles that he ever had that wasn't like everything else. We literally just talked about him on an episode of the Culture Cast with Heather about him playing the same role. Way to play against type in the best way, and it totally works. He's actually he's amazing in that movie. Like I think he's one of the better parts of that movie. Even that's such a well thought out, like on the nose character.
Right, what was the guy's name? Peter Popoff, I believe, was the televangelist at the time that they're taking direct aim at. Like that was.
Oh, I assumed it was Jim Baker.
No. I mean, they were shooting at all of them, but there was one target in mind. I believe it was this guy. So yesterday I read Fletch and then watched Fletch, and then I put on Fletch Lives, and I got about halfway through, and then I stopped. So
that's fair.
I watching the first and then the second on top of each other is not a advisable course of action.
If you like the Fletch character, you'll overlook it. But if you don't care about the Fletch character as much,
I ended up liking Fletch on the beach. I
get it. No, I get it. He's neutered in Fletch Lives. He's cutesy in Fletch Lives. I mean, he's not. He's dealing with Nazis and all kinds of wild shit and Klan members, but it feels much lower stakes.
Lower stakes, and he seems a little bit meaner.
God, he's mean Chevy Chase.
There's no more Fletcher here. This is Chevy.
Oh, it's totally Chevy Chase. Like that. Fletch Lives might as well be the best performance Chevy Chase ever gave as himself. He looks so perturbed every scene that he's in. He doesn't look like he's having fun. He looks miserable.
Right. But I do think what I said, maybe it's apocryphal. I don't know. But I believe there was a writer's strike going on. So it might have been like, Chevy, we need you to do some stuff here. So you might have been trying to shoulder the load there, but not a good idea.
Look, I still like it, but I get the dislike. I 100% understand. And look, even I have issues with the movie that in the first one set in LA and none of the other ones are set anywhere close to where this movie is set. And they're just, I don't know, they go out of their way for it to be in Louisiana. It's whatever. But Cleavon Little is amazing.
No question.
Like, I don't know. It's good, and there's good and bad, I think, is the problem with Fletch Lives, where OG Fletch is just, I think, good. Hard stop.
Yes, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
You have to be a certain fan of that film to enjoy the second one. Like,
agreed.
And I'm sure there are movies like that for me, which I can't think of at the moment, but like I know that there must be. But I want to point out one more thing about the original Fletch, though. I was watching the movie with my girlfriend Amber, and she came in while the opening scene where he's being propositioned on the beach by Tim Matheson.
I don't have to dress up like Little Bo Peep, do I?
Yeah, that. But like before they get there, so he's still out on the sand. And she said, "What's this?" I said, "It's Fletch." I said, "Take a look at Chevy Chase there. According to the film, he's a homeless junkie." And she was like, "Why?" If you watch the movie again, he's so well fed and tanned and shaved, and he's got his like $5 haircut set, and all he's doing is wearing kind of a ratty Lakers shirt and jeans. Yeah. Like that's automatic homeless junkie. According to the visual language of the movie, I don't know. It made me laugh. Like
Tim
really
Matheson Tim Matheson claims he's been watching him for weeks. Be like, then you would know that he's clearly not a junkie.
Not a junkie. So that was an advantage of the book because you don't know what he looks like, and you can't say this 6'5" giant who's clearly never missing a meal.
J.D. Salinger was right. Never adapt anything. Don't let the audience destroy their preconceived notion of the character by having it cast with a real person. Erg. I agree. I agree, but at the same time, like.
Don't get me wrong.
Fletch is real.
Yeah. It doesn't diminish that. What that movie is, that world, that works. I just thought it was funny in retrospect because at the time when I saw the movie, I was like, well, yeah, he's amongst the homeless people.
Yeah. Look, ultimately, I think this movie, in my mind, Confess Fletch, has shown a light for me to reappraise the original movie, which I love. But I love that version of Fletch, which is not Fletch. And that's okay. But I think now as a much more, I guess, learned movie critic, quote unquote, I want more from my Fletch character. And I think we as audience members deserve more from our Fletch character than just a machine gun of jokes, because that's all Chevy Chase is, and that's fine. But that's fine for then. Now it's much more of a need to actually write a character and give him dialogue and have some character growth even potentially. I mean, he does not only does he do the right thing by the end of this movie, you're like, yeah, fuck yeah. He not only does the right thing, he does the right thing and helps out people.
He helps everyone.
Which Chevy Chase didn't fucking do.
No, man. At all. Everyone who aided them, whether they knew it or not, gets paid off at the end of this movie. No, spoilers.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Chris, let me piggyback off of your love of the original Fletch and your appreciation of this one. Like one of my favorite comic book characters of all time is John Constantine, right? Or John Constantine, really. The blonde trench coat wearing Englishman who's
blonde.
Quippy. Yeah, but he's quippy and snarky and like always has a line ready. But my favorite film adaptation of him, or any visual adaptation of him, is the Keanu Reeves movie. That's Constantine, who bears very little resemblance to the John Constantine character as written. And that exists to me perfectly fine. Doesn't hurt the others at all.
I'm with you. I'm actually, you know what? An apt example for another film that I absolutely love. One of my favorite comic book movies, period. And again, you know why? It's because it's Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, there's a lot in that movie that's really good, but yeah, like
he doesn't look anything like John Constantine.
Not one thing, and he doesn't act anything like John Constantine. It's not written like John Constantine. And guess what? It is imbued with the spirit of that character and those tales. You know,
I agree, and that for me, I think is the important part about being an audience member who loves something and that thing inevitably gets remade or redone. It's like you can still appreciate the original without the new thing diminishing your appreciation. It may even help your appreciation of it.
Totally. If you hate the new thing, it should only bolster your appreciation of the other thing. You know, like it should reinforce your feelings on the original.
Yeah. And look, you know, if you have never heard of Fletch up until this point, like this is a really good starting point to be a new fan of the character as well. And that's the other thing that I appreciate about this movie is it introduces Fletch in a successful way for new people and reintroduces him to a whole group of people like yourself, myself, who had seen the previous source material.
Yeah, and this is the one that we're going to go with. This is the one the new generation who has no idea what Fletch is at all needs to be seeing. They can go back and watch the other one as a curiosity or as its own thing or whatever. But like this is what Fletch is supposed to be now. That's
how you used to adapt things in the 80s. This is how you adapt things now. Right. And you know what? Like another show that I'm an immense fan of, Dark Winds, that just came out. It's an adaptation of a Tony Hillerman book from, I want to say, the late 80s, early 90s. They did those movies back, or those books a couple years ago with different actors, though that was a different take on it. And now there's a new take on it. Like, it doesn't diminish it, frankly, anymore. No. Like, just expect that unless it's like something that's held in high regard, there's no need to be there. That is no need to be remade. Your shit's gonna get remade or rebooted.
You know what? They remade Psycho. Like,
they're remaking The Exorcist. Like,
yeah, the gates are open, folks. Like, just get over the clinging to this memory of your youth. Like, you know, just go forward. Like, and look, they've remade my favorite movie of all time, and they did a shitty job as far as I'm concerned. That's Dawn of the Dead. But you know what? I absolutely adore Dawn of the Dead, 1978. George Romero, still my favorite movie. Like, nothing can tarnish it.
Yeah. And, you know, Fletch is one of my favorite comedies, and now it's effectively been rebooted. And you know what? Good.
Right.
You know, they're never going to remake Freaked. I think we can. We don't have to worry about that.
We do need a sequel, though.
Oh, well. I mean, there was a time and a place where that could have happened, but Randy Quaid is crazy now.
Okay, yeah, they can't do a Scruggs continuation. But
well, then why do it? I guess, yeah. No, I agree. They don't need to bring him back. So that's the thing. Like, do they like Star Wars and everybody else? Like, just move forward. Stop looking back.
Yeah,
seriously.
The future's exciting.
It should be for everybody. Don't stop worrying about Skywalkers and every other faded white group of whiteys who ever did a white savior moment, because we don't need it anymore.
Do we need a Karate Kid sequel movie or reboot? Because they're doing one. Didn't we just have a series that covered all that ground?
Isn't the show still going?
That's what I'm saying, but they announced that they're doing a movie too.
Well, it's probably based on the show, right?
Is it? I don't know.
I have no idea.
You know what? I'm going to take my own advice and say I'm going to embrace it. Do whatever the hell you want. It's a multiverse, folks.
Yeah, I honestly, at this point, like, just like tear down the gods and rebuild them in your own image.
Right, like now's the time.
Fuck it. Because you know what? If we can't do it now, at some point we're going to get to the point where no one feels comfortable ever doing it again.
Yeah, and those people need to jump in a lake or be left behind where they belong.
Agreed. So, final thoughts on Confess Fletch.
Damn fine. Good movie. Really well acted. A couple of sour notes here and there, a couple of jokes not landing like they were hoping, or I don't know, trying to force us to laugh at. And I think it's a really smart script otherwise, and very deft adaptation of source material. I love when a script can improve on a book, and they do that immeasurably here. And Jon Hamm is, what can be said about the guy? He's effortlessly charming. Like he's really good here. Like he hits exactly the right notes. This is not Don Draper. This is a good, solid performance, a new character from him.
You know what? My final take is I've got an idea that will guarantee everybody an opportunity to make more money than they would have otherwise and give people employment for a couple years. Here's a thought. Just turn it into a TV show.
Oh, I know. Huh?
Like, why do and frankly, honestly, like as we bring this to a close, that's my biggest like takeaway is like this should have just been a show.
Yeah,
like,
you could have strung one of these books into a series. I mean,
and I hope that they do. Like, as much as I appreciate that this is a movie, the reason I say it's a show is because I wanted to mention the other thing about this movie in my final thoughts that I think is indicative of where we are as a society. 1985, this movie came out, it was a big deal. This movie comes out now, nobody cares about it. Why is that? Because there's like a million things to watch, and this movie got no advertising. None. Zero. Zip. Zilch. I mean, the poster shows the Colosseum. He's in Rome for one scene of this movie. Like, fuck you. Advertisers, I feel for Greg Mottola in that respect. You know why? Because just like another one of our favorite movies between the two of us, Freaked, abandoned. Literally just abandoned by the studio. Shame on you, Paramount. Shame on you, Miramax, for including your logo in front of anything anymore, frankly. I don't know what
are they even putting it out?
What cachet does that fucking have? Like the name of two
contractually obligated, like
the name of a serial rapist parents. Cool. That's what I love. Like,
I know that logo came up and I was just like, oh God, this is
every time
even worse than I thought. And then I was, again, the expectations immediately.
Every time I see something with Miramax in front of it, I watched something today on Netflix that had Miramax. I was just like, I don't want to see this. And there are plenty of people who are learned movie watchers that don't want to see this shit either. They don't want to be reminded that it's Miramax. Change the name to literally anything else, but stop.
Why haven't they?
Right. I don't know. I don't know. And frankly, I think they should. And the fact that it keeps showing up, I think for a lot of people, myself included, is not something I have any interest in seeing. And that's like my biggest issue with this movie is like, it's a part of Miramax anything. Like, fuck you. I'm done. I'm done with Miramax as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, we all are, but they should not keep reminding us. I would like to say one more thing before we close up shop today. And that is, if you watch this movie and you like this movie, go watch Greg Mottola's movie Adventureland. I cannot recommend this movie. And I look, Jesse Eisenberg is the lead. That's a big drawback for a lot of people, myself included.
No, I know.
Look past Kristen Stewart's the other lead. That's another big,
oh my God. You're hitting 0 for 0 with a lot of people, man. God. You made the decision doubly easy.
Okay, listen. That is also a big stumbling block for a lot of people. All right. Jeffrey Jones is also in this movie. No,
are you serious?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God. Robert Blake is in it.
Yes. Yeah. No, okay. No, none of these people. Yeah.
And it's directed by the guy who directed Jeepers Creeper.
Yeah. If Victor Salva and the music was put together by Phil Spector. No, that's not the case. These two potentially unlikable humans and actors are their best here, and I actually like Kristen Stewart quite a bit. I think she's very, very talented. But Jesse Eisenberg has one or two facets of one character, but this part is like written for that character, so it really, really works.
I'll have to watch it. Yeah,
Martin Starr is in it. He's great. Bill Hader, Kristen Wiig.
I'm always a little, I don't know. I like Jesse Eisenberg in Social Network, but I mean, come on.
Right.
That character that he's playing is one of the two settings, right?
Listen, I'm just saying, give it a chance.
I'm going to on your suggestion alone. I actually don't dislike Kristen Stewart. I like Kristen Stewart just fine. Yeah. Her acting in that first Twilight movie is not indicative of her ability to act. Or Robert Pattinson, which I think for me, still the funniest thing about that original Twilight movie is how bad it is and how good their careers have been in spite of it.
Yeah, I think people wrote both those folks off and that was the incorrect thing to do.
9 times out of 10, it's okay to write them off because look, Kellen Lutz hasn't done anything.
Yeah, but you could see Kellen Lutz wasn't going to do anything while you're watching the movie.
First two, those Twilight movies do not play to anybody's strengths.
No, certainly not. But
looking at you, Taylor Lautner, who effectively hasn't had a job since those movies.
Like I had already seen Kristen Stewart in a bunch of stuff because she's been acting since she was like fucking 3 or something. So I already knew she was capable of stuff. So like her performance in that movie was not necessarily bad, but let's not say nuanced. And I was like, ugh, what's this? And then when people were talking shit about her, I'm like, no, that was one movie. Like, she's good. Like, let it play. Anyway.
Yeah, she was in the Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas.
Jesus.
And Zathura, a space adventure, aka a Space Jumanji.
Space Jumanji. That Jon Favreau goes to director jail is what that movie was called.
I've never seen it.
It's okay. It's fun. But it is just Jumanji. It's, it's Jumanji with like space in its retro space, so it's fun. I don't know. I'll have to reevaluate it. I remember at the time not liking it, but appreciating the design.
You know what they say about Jon Favreau? That kid's got a bright future.
Hopefully.
Yeah, boy, that was 05. Can you imagine being Jon Favreau in 05? Like, I really want to work on this Iron Man movie.
Yeah. Oof.
I really want to work on this Boba Fett adjacent show. Maybe in 10 years.
Maybe never. Maybe like everything just came into place for that fella. God bless him,
Yeah, no. And I think that, that is the thing about this movie. Everything came into place and we finally got Confess Fletch, and it was good. It was, you know what? That's the thing that we kind of touched on and we really didn't impress upon at the end here. This movie is better than it has any right to be for a movie that's been in development hell for this long. 20 plus years since 89.
Yeah, right. Like how many scripts were written?
23 years worth of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've had Kevin Smith and Jason Lee and Bill Lawrence with Zach Braff and Jason Sudeikis. Like there were 2 other movies that didn't happen. Plus God knows how many other ones got trotted around by God knows who internally at Paramount.
I'm glad we got this one.
I will say the thing that was missing from Confess Fletch that the original one will always have, the fucking music. Oh my God, the music. It's so good. It's so good.
It is good.
All of the music, it's Harold Faltermeyer. So
yeah,
like Axel F. Like,
yeah.
I would be more surprised if it was bad. The new movie's music is unforgettable, but you can't help that the original movie's music was so good that you can't live up to the standard set. Even the second movie doesn't.
I don't remember any of the music from this new movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember some of the songs playing, but by the way, I love an art heist movie. This is but like not they're smashing shit and pulling stuff out windows, like this kind of thing where we get to watch professionals do their professional thing. That's another thing I like about this movie. Like, people conversing about subjects and knowing what they're talking about. I always enjoy that in a movie.
I'm with you.
That's a really simple thing to say, but like this movie does that very, very well.
It has the investigative part of the journalism thing in spades.
Yeah. Sam Spades.
Yeah. Oh, Sam Spades.
I used to have a rim shot.
Just over and over again, but it's actually just you making the noise and then you put the noise in. I'm surprised. I'm honestly surprised that you wanted to talk about this with me, given how much ire I've caused with you with Fletch Lives.
Well, I actually felt that I owed this to you.
Oh,
I not only I owed my actual evaluation of this movie, but I owed you a serious reevaluation of those movies, given how much they mean to you.
That's fair. Given how much we've reappraised movies that you really like over at the Culture Cast last month.
Yeah, right. Just returning the favor. Ultimately.
Turn the magnifying glass on yourself.
Hey,
don't put me underneath the scope. Put yourself.
I did it, but this was fun. You know what was fun? Let me tell you what was fun about this, Chris, is the past year and a half is you've been shitting on this movie in any form of development.
Again, actually, what was there to shit on?
I know, but you were like, it's going to be garbage. It's going to be garbage.
Yeah,
so
again,
we were watching the movie at the same time and texting each other, and I was like, "Oh no, this is good. Chris is gonna hate this. Like, what do I even say?"
I have no problem admitting I'm wrong.
I know, but if you had continued on that path and were just like, "Fuck this," I was gonna be like, but I liked it.
Well, the problem is I if it's bad, it.
I know. You
know what I mean? It wasn't bad. I couldn't even pretend that I didn't like it.
Yeah,
that's the issue. Ultimately, I think, like I said, comes back to the marketing. Why they abandoned this movie. They put this movie out at a fire station in the middle of the night and said, "Here, you deal with it."
Very unusual strategy to get people to watch your high-profile movie made by professionals
that you spent $20 million on, and you don't advertise it. So a lot of my anger just came from we've seen nothing, so I gotta assume this is going to be bad. It's the old adage of if they don't let the reviewers see it before the movie comes out.
Yeah,
it's a problem, right? It's this. There's no way this movie's good. All those epic movie, disaster movie, not screened for reviewers ahead of time. I wonder why.
Sitting on a shelf for 3 years must be great.
Right.
We can all hope against hope, but Come on.
Right. Sitting in development hell for 20 plus years with 3 or 4 different directors attached in various stages of production. Yeah, no, not going to be good. Can you blame me for thinking this movie's not going to be good? No, because 10 times out of 10, it's not.
It's a win. This is a win for all goodness.
This is a win for Jon Hamm.
It's a win for Jon Hamm. This is a win for Gregory Mcdonald, too, though.
It is, man, for real.
Get some people reading, that's the ultimate thing,
I will say, though, to bring this to a close, just read the first book. Seriously. Don't read.
Second one's pretty good.
You know what? I take that back. Read the first 3. So Fletch, Confess Fletch, and Fletch's Fortune. And then if you want to read the prequels, go right ahead. They're pretty close in tone to the original book. But man, when it starts getting into the deeper stuff, just leave. It becomes a parody of itself. It can't. Gregory Mcdonald wrote Fletch, and Fletch was really good.
Yeah. And
after that, it was kind of diminishing returns, even after the first one.
Right. And I noticed they were spaced out like 2 years each. So it's like 72, 74, 76. Like those are good. And then just like everything else starts falling apart, maybe, he just sort of gives up. And plus, the first couple, he's coming off a career of being a investigative journalist. So a lot of greatness goes into the first opening salvo of your career.
Yeah. Again, I don't think that the first Fletch book is like an amazing piece of literature, but it's a good book. It's a fun book. It works in that world that it exists in, and it's a good addition to any mystery lover's library, especially if you're into West Coast noir, which is totally a thing. So I don't think it's as dark as the other noir books, but the book is pretty goddamn dark.
Yeah.
Compared to the movie. Sure. So that's why I said, like, if this group approached the first movie's story, I think it would be interesting. So again, tell it a little bit more true to source material.
I would love that to be the sequel, actually. Go back and revisit the first book.
Well, they've already made it clear. They did the thing that I was worried they were going to do. They were like, hey, we got another case for you, pal. And I was like, oh my God, they're setting up a sequel. Holy shit. And they set up the sequel for Fletch's Fortune, because that's the story of the next book, is he goes to the journalist convention. And
I very much want to see this. Please make this movie.
I would watch it, because there's some interesting stuff that happens in that. And it's him interacting with a bunch of journalists at essentially the Greenbrier, like in the middle of nowhere. So like it has some interesting directions it could go, also in a contemporary setting, which I think would be even more fun. Because it's essentially like a murder mystery investigation of like a Ted Turner, Rupert Murdoch type who gets murdered.
Sweet. And they could examine all the new forms of media that Fletch has come up against as a journalist. That could be fun.
Yep. So that's So maybe that's where we're going. I don't know. But Father Malone, if people want to hunt you down with torches and pitchforks, where could they find you?
Do so only at fathermalone.com. That's a link tree to all of my nonsense, my YouTube channel, which is called Father Malone. Anyway, I was going to make a joke about all the Father Malone nonsense, but I do want people to listen to my podcast, Dark Destination. It's Dark Destinations. That's a half-hour radio drama I write and produce. I also do a show with Chris and Mr. Mike White. We do Midnight Viewing, the Night Gallery podcast about Rod Serling's follow-up to The Twilight Zone.
As for me, you can find me at cstachiw.com. That's my link tree. Go there. But for all the shows on the Weirding Way Media Network, you can go to weirdingwaymedia.com. Father Malone shows that he just mentioned are on there, along with all the shows that I work on, along with a whole lot of other shows that might just pique your interest. But you got to go give them a peek before you can do that. Weirdingwaymedia.com is where you can do that. So for this show, culturecast.com, patreon.com/culturecast. If you've been here before, you know the spiel. But if you haven't, $1 is all it takes to get access to bonus episodes. There was a bonus episode last month of Father Malone and Heather Drain of Mondo Heather and I talking all about What Me Horny.
What Me Horny. Yes, that's the actual title.
If you want to know more about What Me Horny, go and give $1 and you can find that. Father Malone, I want to say a heartfelt thank you, because you really brought it out there at the end. A serious reappraisal that you're tearing up my heartstrings, pal. You know that. You know that. You know
I love you, Chris.
And now you have that Fletch Lives poster, which I hope will finally be put up somewhere for all of the world to see. And I ruined it. I just ruined it right then and there.
You know what? Like I was thinking about that goddamn poster this entire podcast, and I don't know what to do with it, because I honestly cannot in good faith put it into a frame. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You could You could put it up and then you could draw on it and make it more to your liking.
Then I would feel bad because
I don't care.
I don't care that you gave it to me. No, I'm saying like somebody out there might really love that Fletch Lives poster. And
they sold it to me for $8. What's your point? And now they didn't want it anymore.
There's somebody else out there who was going to buy it and you bought it just to fuck with me.
I bought it for you because I'm your friend. And it was it was a Christmas gift, sir.
It made me smile both ear to ear. So
while I was grabbing my knife and tearing it apart, going, it was great. And as always, we'll catch you on the next episode.